La 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 la, I'm happy and I'm singing the Lifebuoy song.
Be Lifebuoy clean on all 13.
Be Lifebuoy clean on all 13. I'm happy and I'm singing the Lifebuoy song.
Remember, you can get BO on not just one, but 13 skin areas. The cleaner you get these 13 skin areas, the safer you are. Lifebuoy Health Soap deodorizes all these 13 skin areas. Stops BO before it begins. Stops BO up to 48 hours. Doctors have proven that Lifebuoy, with its purifying ingredients, actually gets skin cleaner than any other leading soap. Don't trust ordinary soaps to stop BO. Use Lifebuoy every day.
Be Lifebuoy clean on all 13.
Be Lifebuoy clean on all 13. I'm happy and I'm singing the Lifebuoy song. For soft water shampooing, use Tony Cream Shampoo.
Even in the hardest water,
Tony Cream Shampoo.
Yes, even in the hardest water, Tony Cream Shampoo gives soft water shampooing that rinses away dandruff instantly. Leaves hair so soft, so smooth, so shining clean. Today, bring out the sparkling beauty of your hair with soft water shampooing. Get the handy tube or jar of Tony Cream Shampoo. It's new.
For soft water shampooing, use Tony Cream Shampoo.
even in the hardest water,
Tony Cream Shampoo.
You know me. Name's Tom. I'm a drifter, a Southern Pacific tramp. Just another bindle stiff along the highway looking for a day's wages. There used to be a lot of guys like me back in the Great Depression. Not so many now, with prosperity around the corner and the war in full swing. Yes, the war's been good for the economy, put a lot of bums back on their feet. But not me. I had my war, you see. The Great War, they called that one. The war that was supposed to end them all, before we learned to start numbering them. Back in a place called Bellawood, I got gassed when a French 75 fell short. When smoke cleared, I'd lost half my lungs. Had to give up smoking, too. Now I chew my tobacco and fight nobody's wars but my own. Back in summer of '43, I saved a little money picking peaches east of Phoenix, off a hard-scrapple orchard owned by a farmer named Capoletto. I liked Capoletto. Cappy, I called him. Funny old widower, who when he got enough homemade grop in his gut, he'd sing to the memory of his deceased wife.
Sul mare luccica la strada d'argento, la sera l'onda prospera il vento.
Yeah, I liked Cappy. There was lots of joy and pain all whirled together in Cappy's voice. And that pain and joy were never off key and always worked their way to the surface of things, just trying to get out. Old country. That was Cappy.
Oh, mare luccica, la strada d'argento, la sera l'onda prospera il vento. Sul mare luccica. Oh, come on, Tommy. Sing it with me. Sing.
I can't sing and I ain't got nothing to sing about.
Everybody sings it, Tommy. Mare Lucica, l'astro d'argento. All right, then. You can hum.
I worked for Cappy for about 2 weeks, picking his lousy peaches. And now we were driving them to market to Phoenix. For me, it was just another job, but for Capoletto, those peaches represented 6 months of pruning and irrigating, picking and packing, and all of it by hand. He was a little short-handed, what with the war in full swing, and no one respectable wanted to do stoop labor for a wop, which I found altogether, well, I guess the word's ironic. You see, Capoletto's 2 sons, 18 and 20, they had gotten tired of all the prejudice against the family, and so they enlisted to fight in the war against Mussolini. One of those sons never made it out of North Africa, and that's what I mean about being ironic. And you see, with one dead son and him being a poor widower and all, Capoletto didn't have much to sing about.
Oh, Mare Lucica, l'astro d'argento.
Maybe we better pull the truck over, Cappy. The road's bad and these summer storms never last long.
I got to get my peaches to market, Tommy. The first ripe peaches of the season. They always get the best price.
You won't get any peaches to market. You slide this crate off the road into one of these arroyos.
Oh, what are you worried about, Tom? Louis Capoletto's good driver. And tomorrow the sun will shine again.
Well, it ain't tomorrow I'm worried about. It's... Jesus, Cap! You got 4 bald tires, 1 headlight, a cracked windshield, and your wipers don't work.
I got the skills, don't I? I'm a good driver. Lucica, l'astro d'argento. Just one or two little more canyons and we'll be back on the flat. I know this road to Phoenix, Tommy. It's a good shortcut.
Okay. Hey, look out now. Look out, Cappy. That's fast water down there on the road. A flood, maybe.
Ave Maria.
Sweet Mary and Joseph is right. What did I tell you? Flash flood, all right. You drive your stake bed into that, and you can kiss your peaches goodbye.
You are right, Tommy. We'll just back up at this hill and park somewhere off of the road. And we let this storm pass.
There's a pullout up at the top of the hill, a couple of 100 yards back. We can wait there.
If there's not too much mud off the road, we get stuck.
Well, better stuck in the mud than dead. Besides, getting drowned in Arizona ain't dignified.
There. We made it.
Keep your lights on. We don't want to get hit from behind up here.
And run down the battery?
Oh, all right then, you piker. Keep the engine on.
Petrol costs money. Rationing. There's a war on.
All right, be a cheap sap. We get hit from behind, don't blame me.
Relax, Tommy. I keep the lights and the engine on just for you. Now let's drink a little grappa and sing away our troubles and Su mare lucica la strada.
I think I remember seeing a little town about 3 miles back.
It wasn't much of a town. You and I are better off right here.
After the 9th or 10th reprise of Santa Lucia, a patrol car shows up, lights flashing. From the rear view, I see the bull get out, working his flashlight along the bed and under the truck. And this one doesn't like the looks of our rig, and frankly, I don't like his. It's a local sheriff, a beefy guy in his 30s, Smith & Wesson on his hip, getting rusty in the rain. A regular Wyatt Earp, this one. And I can tell right off he don't like foreigners or guys like me.
What's under the tarp? Wetbacks?
We're all wetbacks tonight, officer. I tell him, hoping to get on his good side from the start.
You, I get to in a minute. Right now I'm talking to you, the driver. Where the hell do you think you're going?
To Phoenix with my peaches. But the road ahead, she is all washed out.
I can see that. What I want to know is why you're driving this road. Phoenix is more than 60 miles and the main highway 30 miles back. We don't get much through traffic coming this way, nothing commercial anyway. Now, what are you hauling to Phoenix so important that you have to take the back roads on a rainy night like this? Nothing illegal, is it?
Peaches, Constable. I got only peaches. I grew them myself. You want I should pull off the tarp?
Peaches, huh? What kind of accent is that?
No accent, Constable. American citizen.
No Americans I know talk like you. Where you're from, farmer, originally, I mean.
Palermo, Constable.
Palermo, huh? You Italian, that it?
Sicilian.
Same thing. Don't try to put anything over on me. I'm the law around here.
Well, no one's putting anything over on anyone, officer. He just wants to get his peaches to market, like he said.
Uh-huh. And who are you?
Name's Tom.
Got any ID? Draft card? That goes for both of you. License and registration. Hand them over.
Draft card? What for?
Yes, my sons. They fight in the war.
On what side, Wub?
You've got no call to talk like that.
And why aren't you in uniform?
I fought my war, officer, and like the looks of you, I'm unfit for active service.
You smart punk.
I woke up the next morning with a sore head and a sore jaw. My torso felt like I'd gone 12 rounds, gloves off, with Dempsey. The rain on the tin roof outside was keeping time with the pinging in my head. When my lights cleared, there were 2 bunk beds that I could see. Capoletto was lying on one across from me, and the one above was empty. Someone was sawing logs in the bunk above mine. Where are we?
We are in jail, Tommy. That constable.
Yeah, I remember now. Last night. Oh! That sheriff or whatever he was, he sucker punched me good. Oh! Feels like a couple of cracked ribs. What did he hit me with, a 2x4?
Well, the gentleman under discussion keeps a set of brass knuckles on his person as part of his repository of self-defense.
He what, senor?
And who are you?
Well, allow me to introduce myself. My name's Earl Collins, but folks around here call me the Professor. Holmes numero uno public nuisance and part-time inebriate, an offense punishable in this county for up to 30 days or $300. Upon my current incarceration, I failed to produce the necessary $300.
You're a funny kind of a drunk, Professor.
Well, I am, yes, dear sir, though you'll never find a more affable or agreeable one. And what fellow malefactors, may I inquire, brought you wayfarers to our rustic burrow?
Tommy and me. We no break the law. We just try and get my peaches to Phoenix by shortcut.
I see. A pair of unsuspecting tourists be fallen prey to our local jurisprudence. No, welcome to home, gentlemen.
Home?
Well, I assure you there's no place like home, Arizona. Whatever you do, don't take your incarceration here lightly. Do your time judiciously, and when that cell door opens, politely tip your hats and don't look back.
But Tommy and me, we don't do nothing wrong.
Well, you've already met the local constable. Officers of the court don't come any more miserable than Sheriff Frank Cloud of Home, Arizona.
Mean, is he?
Why, I assure you, gentle sir, there is no one meaner. Well, let me illustrate your situation more clearly. Home may be a rusticated speck by census standards, population 125, but Sheriff Cloud owns and protects every foot of it, right up to the county line.
And you people put up with Sheriff Cloud and his homespun justice.
Sir, you judge the locals too harshly. Without Sheriff Cloud, there would be no Home, Arizona. Now, do you get the picture?
Kind of runs the place, does he?
With an iron fist backed up by a substantial checkbook. It's the way of the West, stranger, which is what makes Beaufunk, Arizona identical to, say, Beaufunk, Texas.
Yeah, I've been there too. So, how did the Sheriff Cloud get so influential?
Well, sir, he inherited that influence from a man who, well, legend has it, back in the days of Geronimo, appropriated a tract of land from those less tutored in the finer points of,
Yes?
I believe the colloquial term is land grabbing. Not that the son lacks the genetic grit of his father. The local rumor mill has it Sheriff Cloud once killed a man.
So it's like that, is it, Professor?
Yes, stranger, it's like that. My advice to you is keep on ambulating just as soon as you are able.
That's what we do. Me and Tommy. We don't want no trouble. We just want to take our peaches to market.
Quiet, you two. I hear someone coming up the stairs.
Sustenance for the transgressors. And right on time, too.
I'll tell you right now, I wasn't quite prepared for what I saw coming up those stairs. Those footsteps you see came with a whiff of 4711 Eau de Cologne, a German fragrance that's been around as long as the women who use it. And this one wasn't all that young, or old for that matter. Timeless, maybe. She'd been around, and that much you could see by the painted green eyes and the red hair that didn't come out of a bottle. And the faded blue dress she wore, a little too tight for home, was a dead giveaway. She carried a covered tray that looked like it might have a pot of coffee under it. Sheriff Cloud was standing behind her with the keys to our cell, his eyes hard on me, and I didn't like that much. The redhead's eyes were on me too, but I didn't mind her eyes so much. I didn't mind her at all.
Better open up the cell, Frank. This one looks hungry.
Yeah, I was hungry. You could see that much in my eyes. And so could Sheriff Cloud.
When do we get out of here, Constable? My peaches. My peaches.
Oh, not so fast, Wop. That's still a matter of your fines we have to discuss. That and the roads still washed out on both ends of town on account of the monsoon.
Fines? What fines?
You took a sock at me, tough guy, or don't you remember? In my town, that cost you $52 or 30 days in jail.
$52? And how did you arrive at that figure, Sheriff? It was something of a rhetorical question. $52 was all I had in my billfold when Cap and I got picked up. With a sheriff as crooked as this, I figured as soon as I paid him the $52, he'd arrest me all over again for vagrancy. Then there was the sock to the jaw and the brass knuckles to the ribs. I figured Sheriff Cloud owed me something for that. Let my friend go, Sheriff. All he wants to do is get his peaches to market, and besides, whatever it is, your gripe's with me.
I told you both, the floods washed out the road, and it ain't finished yet. You both better stay where you are for now. The second floor of the jail is about the safest and driest place you can have at home.
But my peaches, my truck.
Sit down, Wop. Your peaches and truck ain't going nowhere. I'll work out your impoundment fees before you leave.
But
Let him go, Frank, and forget the impoundment fees.
Doris, now listen to me.
No, you listen to me, Frank. These two aren't any trouble to you. Look at their hands. They look like a couple of dirt farmers to me, and ain't we got enough dirt farmers around here?
It was obvious this Doris, whoever she was, had some kind of hold on Sheriff Cloud. I figured her to be his long-suffering wife. The way she kept giving me glances, I figured out something else. A way to get back at the sheriff, if I could just get out of this cell.
Enjoy your breakfast, boys. That oatmeal is gonna last you until supper. I'll be back for the dishes. Come on, Doris.
There was something about the way that blue dress moved that kept my eyes on Doris. There was something in that slow walk that let me know she knew I was watching her. After she left, the three of us ate our breakfast in silence. The oatmeal was cold and lumpy, and the coffee was weak. But I didn't care. My mind was on Doris. Who's the redhead, Professor?
Oh, that would be Doris Cloud. That one's trouble.
Doris, the sheriff's wife?
Your sister. But, stranger, you don't want to set your sights on Doris. Well, I saw the way she looked at you and you her. Trust me, she's as much trouble as her brother.
Tommy and me, we don't want no trouble. Do we, Tommy?
No trouble, I said, but I could still feel those cracked ribs and my jaw still hurt, and I could still see the back of that blue dress. No trouble at all, Cappy. Sister, huh?
Well, that's right, sister. A widow, too. She runs the only diner in town, place across the street. She gets $2 per diem for every prisoner she feeds. Not that she needs the money, rich as they are. Her husband left her plenty.
You're dead, huh?
One officially, of course. Lack of habeas corpus. Same as the father. The curious thing is, they both just disappeared one day.
I take it Sheriff Cloud didn't like the rich husband much.
The proverbial gossip around home is that the husband once beat Doris almost to death. Being the protective type, well, her brother decided to do something about that. But do us both a favor, stranger. You didn't hear any of this from me.
It rained all day, and the flooding north and south of town got worse. Around 3 in the afternoon, our friend Doris returned with supper. At $2 a day from the county, I expected a little more than a slice of day-old bread and a couple of cold wieners. But I did notice my coffee wasn't as weak as it was that morning at breakfast. She'd spiked it with a little something extra, a little something I swallowed down with hope.
You boys enjoy your supper now. I talked it over with my brother, and he's decided to let you go as soon as it stops raining. He's decided to drop all the charges, too.
What does that mean, yours truly, Miss Cloud?
Yes, you too, Professor. I promised my brother from now on you'd do your drinking in private.
Well, I surely will, Miss Cloud. I surely will. Thank you.
Doris was good for her word. A few hours later, it was still raining, but the rain didn't feel so bad now. We were all free men. First thing Cappy did was walk the 3 miles in the rain back to his truck to check on his peaches. First thing I did was walk the 20 yards across the muddy street to check on my new friend Doris. I wanted to, well, thank her personally, I guess, for getting us out of a tight spot. I also wanted to know what it had cost her in return. Sheriff Cloud, you see, didn't strike me as the philanthropic type. As diners go, it wasn't much, but good enough for home. It was after 9 o'clock at night, and there were no customers that I could see. No cook, no dishwasher. Just Doris Cloud sitting all alone in that blue dress, smoking a cigarette in a booth toward the back. The booth was made of cheap red vinyl, and in places it had been patched up with strips of black electrical tape. I couldn't help but stare. She made quite a picture sitting there, smoking her cigarette, drinking her coffee with whatever else was in the cup. It was like she was waiting for me or something, knowing I'd show up.
I see Frank finally let you out.
Oh, thanks to you.
No need to get overly grateful about it.
She poured me a cup of coffee from the hot plate beside her, and then she added a little something from a bottle. I didn't quite catch the label on that bottle, if it had a label.
On the house. It's the least home owes you. Go on, drink up. My coffee won't kill you.
So I sat down and I drank her lace coffee. Thanks.
Listen to it pour, would you? One day, one of those flash floods from up the canyon will wash this stinking little town away.
Ask me if I care about your stinking little town.
Ask me if I care, you care.
Well, why do you stay here then? Seems to me after one bad marriage in this dump, it would be time to get out.
Huh, you know about my marriage, do you? Yeah, the professor loves to talk.
Small town like this, everyone talks. What else they got to do?
Not everyone, mister.
Name's Tom.
Mister, you don't know the half of it. Drink your coffee and go. I'm closing up for the night.
I had no intention of leaving, not yet. Not when I could smell that 4711 cologne all the way across the booth. So I watched Doris and her red lips drink her coffee, and She watched me watch her. After a minute, I leaned across the table like she knew I would, and I kissed her like she knew I would. That red mouth of hers tasted like cigarettes and coffee and the vodka she poured in our cups, and maybe a little peppermint lozenge she had after dinner. I probably tasted like the cold hot dog I had for supper. But we were both far past caring about each other's lousy breath.
What are you waiting for, Tom? You better get on with it. We haven't got all night.
Together, we slipped over to the middle of the booth. We sort of spilled our coffee and broke a couple of cups doing it. And then I pressed Doris in her blue dress hard against that red vinyl. After that, I couldn't hear anything except the blood pounding through my veins and maybe the storm outside. I must have fallen asleep for a while in that red vinyl booth. I awoke with a strip of black electrical tape across my back. There was a cup of coffee waiting for me on the table. It tasted like that first cup of coffee back in jail, weak and cold. I sipped that coffee and gathered my thoughts. Cappy would be waiting for me back at the truck. Now that the rain had stopped, it had gotten all quiet and peaceful sitting there in the dark. Doris was standing by the window, looking out.
You missed all the excitement. Flash flood came down Main Street about an hour ago, just before the rain stopped.
Anyone hurt?
In this one-horse town? Just a couple of drowned chickens. It was only about 1.5 feet of water, and it didn't amount to much. Most of it's already gone. Some people gathered around the flagpole outside the station. Must be one of those dead chickens got caught in the storm.
I guess I'll be going now, too.
Finish your coffee first. I'll make you breakfast.
Oatmeal like you made this morning? No thanks.
Bacon and eggs, if you like.
But Doris's heart wasn't in it, and neither was mine. I better go find Cappy.
You don't like home much, do you?
No, and neither do you. For me, home is a place that's already gone.
But you keep looking for it.
Well, not really. Everywhere I've gone, I've never found it.
And consider yourself lucky. This is my home, and I'll never get to leave.
Well, why stay if you hate it so much? You got money, Doris. Leave.
I can't leave. My brother needs me.
Your brother, the sheriff, who beats up on people for the fun of it. He's the reason you stick around this dump?
He needs me. You have no idea how weak and dependent he really is.
He needs you so much he ran off your husband. That doesn't sound weak or dependent to me.
There's all kinds of weakness. What do you think a bully is? Just the worst kind of weakness. Besides, my husband wasn't run off.
You expect me to believe that cock and bull story about your brother killing your husband? And maybe your father before that?
Dead or gone, they both needed killing. They both, what's the word the doctors use? They abused me.
Well, those kinds of rumors might get your brother elected sheriff in this town, but the rumors don't make it true.
I did you a favor by getting you and your friend out of jail. Now do yourself a bigger favor and go.
Is that what you're afraid of? The brother that keeps you here?
You got your revenge on the sheriff that beat you, didn't you? Leave.
You think your brother's gonna kill me now? Is that what you think?
It don't matter what I think. Look, here he comes now.
Doris, open up quick. Doris, let me in. Open the door. Doris, you've got to help me. You've got to help us.
Calm down, Frank. Tell me what's wrong.
There's a body washed up by the flood. An old body, Doris, more like an old skeleton than a man. And it's lying up against the base of the flagpole outside the jail.
How old a body, Frank? You think it might be Dennis?
Who's Dennis? Your husband?
What's he doing here? I thought you were alone.
Never mind that, Frank. Tell me about the body.
I don't think Dennis too old, but it might be.
Father?
Clinging to that flagpole like he owned it.
You've got to hide it, Frank. Get it off the street, fast.
Too late. A half-dozen people have already seen it. That fool Earl Collins already went and called the state police.
So the chickens have come home to roost, have they? And right at your doorstep. How's that for vigilante justice, Sheriff?
I thought I told you to get out of town. Now it's too late.
Frank, don't.
Oh, put your pistol away, Sheriff. Brass knuckles are more your style.
Frank!
Frank isn't going to shoot me. Not in front of his own sister. And not when there's another body lying outside Frank's name on it. Oh, Frank's dumb and he's careless. But he's not that dumb and careless. Are you, Frank?
What does it matter now?
Frank!
He's okay. Just knocked out cold is all.
You took a chance yourself.
Maybe. I didn't think he'd go for his gun.
But he did, because he's scared and dumb. Now what?
Well, that washed-up body outside seals it. You can explain it all to a good lawyer, I guess. Tell him all about your abusive husband and father and how Frank defended you against them. Tell him whatever you want. Your brother's the sheriff here. I don't think you'll get the death penalty for defending his sister. Not in this state.
No, he won't get the death penalty.
Only when it comes to justice, I'm not too sure about anything anymore.
The only problem is, Frank didn't kill my husband or my father.
Well, try telling that one to the judge.
I will.
You don't have to protect your brother anymore, Doris. It's over.
Yes, it is. Only I wasn't the one doing the protecting. Frank was.
You?
I told you my brother was weak.
Yeah, weak like all bullies on the inside.
Listen to me, Tom, please. My husband Dennis was bad, but he wasn't the first. My father, it wasn't just me. Now don't you see it? I did what I did to protect both of us.
You killed both men all by yourself.
Is that so hard to understand? Frank was younger and more vulnerable than me. The night my father came into our bedroom, I couldn't take it anymore. Frank understood. It was just the three of us up there. I got Frank to help me hide the body up in the canyon behind the house. We were just teenagers then. With Father gone, I thought we could bury it all behind us. We told anyone who asked that he had abandoned us, gone back to his first wife in California. And everyone who knew my father wanted to believe it, said it was for the best.
And your husband?
Dennis came later, years later. Frank was already sheriff by then. Oh, there'd been rumors about Father, but nothing anybody wanted to prove. And those rumors never hurt Frank's reputation as a sheriff, not here in home. They might have even gotten him elected. That's the kind of town home is.
I see.
No, a drifter like you don't see. After Dennis, I knew we'd never leave home. Frank buried him in the same arroyo we dumped our father 10 years earlier. And that was over a decade ago. Our family secret. That's what families do, you know. They cover up their dirty little secrets with mud and rocks in the hope of keeping their guilt underground. It isn't just me and Frank. Not when you consider the size of this whole country and how we took hold of it. There must be 1,000 dirty secrets buried up and down the arroyos.
State police, open up.
And that's pretty much the story of Frank and Doris Cloud. Frank didn't put up any kind of fight when the state police came through that door, not like you'd expect a bully to. And then Doris told her side of the story all over again, first to the police, and then to her lawyer, then to a jury of her peers. Well, not peers exactly. This was Arizona in 1943. There were 12 good men on that jury, all with wives of their own, and they found Doris Cloud guilty of 2 counts of first-degree murder. The fact that one of those bodies had been buried in the ground for over 20 years didn't sway matters much. And, well, funny thing about that body that washed up outside Frank Cloud's doorstep, that one turned out to be the mummified remains of an Apache Indian who'd been dead since the days of Geronimo. By the time the state coroner learned all this, poor Doris had already signed her confession. Well, that's how Lady Justice works from time to time, with one eye closed and the other hidden behind her blindfold. Cappy and I? Well, we got those peaches to market in Phoenix after the water went down. Neither of us shed any tears on our way out of town, and neither of us ever went back. I heard a rumor once that the professor ran unopposed for sheriff and won, but the town didn't last long after that. The day we sold Cappy's peaches, we drove the truck the long way back to his farm with a belly full of grappa in our guts. And together this time, we sang Santa Lucia all the way home.
Sul mare luccica la strada d'argento, la sede dell'onda prospera il vento. Sul mare luccica la strada d'argento, la sede dell'onda prospera il vento. Venite il gile, barcetta mia, Santa Lucia, Santa Lucia.
The role of Tom the Drifter was played by Bill Alewyn, who also wrote this play. Renee Sandoval played Capoletto. Doris Cloud was played by Gene Calder. Gene Carter was Sheriff Cloud, and the professor was played by Terry Turner. Our Foley artist is Rod Gibson. And I'm your announcer and director for tonight's program, Ralph Swain. Thank you for listening. This concludes our radio show for tonight, but before we sign off the air, please enjoy one more heartfelt song from our own GSR jazz singer, Bonnie Lee.
Dear, when you smiled at me, I heard a melody. It haunted me from the start. Something inside of me started a symphony. Zing! Went the strings of my heart. 'Twas like a breath of spring. I heard a robin sing about a nest set apart. All nature seemed to be in perfect harmony. Zing! Went the strings of my heart. Your eyes made skies seem blue again. What else could I do again? You keep repeating through and through. I love you, love you. I still recall the thrill. I guess I always will. I hope we'll never depart. Dear, with your lips to mine, a rhapsody divine. Sing, went the strings of my heart. Was like a breath of spring. I heard a robin sing about a nest set apart. All nature seemed to be in perfect harmony. Zing! Oh, 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 went the strings of my heart. Your eyes made skies seem blue again. What else could I do again? But keep repeating through and through. I love you, love you. I still recall the thrill. I guess I always will. I hope we'll never depart. Dear, with your lips to mine, a rhapsody divine. Zing! Went the strings of mine. Zing! Went the strings of mine. Zing! Went the strings of my heart.
Bonnie Lee. Let's hear it for Bonnie Lee. Ladies and gentlemen, the Great Southwest Radio Theater Project players in alphabetical order from Coolidge, Arizona, Bill Alewyn. Also from Coolidge, Gene Carter. And another Coolidge resident, our Foley sound artist, Rod Gibson. From Casa Grande, Arizona, Gene Colder. From Florence, Arizona, Bonnie Lee. From Casa Grande, Rene Sandoval. And also from Casa Grande, Arizona, and winter visitor from Sergeant Bluff, Iowa, Terry Turner. I'm your announcer and director for tonight's performance, Ralph Swain. You've been a wonderful audience. Thank you for tuning in.